What are some good internet rabbit holes to fall into during this time of quarantine? I've been down a rabbit hole to make sourdough bread. I'm fascinated now. I didn't realize how the process works. I saw some lady who's been using the same starter since the 1970s, and she got hers from a woman who used hers for the last 100 years. Edit. Heck, this thing really blew up. People are asking for links, as I'm sure there are thousands. This was what a friend shared with me that started me into this now black hole. Seems like a good lad making bread. The Boyle clan Mothadal. Sourdough bread is so cool. Some families have been feeding the same sourdough starter for generations. The old Reddit quarantinaroo. Hold my corona, I'm going in. This is actually a legitimate time to raise that rabbit hole. I thought reading about the Death Valley Germans was super interesting and took a good few hours to read and do my own research. Edit. If it's asking for a login/port, that means the site is overwhelmed. I know it's frustrating, but I didn't realize it would get this much traffic. Try again in an hour or two and it should be fine. Second. Edit. Web archive really comes in handy in these times. Archive.org from u/abc_WTF. Cannot recommend this one enough. I'd never heard of them until Reddit. A harrowing tale of how smart, sensible folks find themselves out of their depth, but only after the point of no return. How easy it is to go missing. What's the spoiler-free TL? Doctor. Edit. There's even a wiki page. The Death Valley Germans, as dubbed by the media, were a family of 4 German tourists who went missing in Death Valley National Park on the California-Nevada border in the United States on July 23, 1996. Despite an intense search and rescue operation several months after they went missing, no trace of the family was discovered and the search was called off. I've been getting into reading about quantum mechanics. I figure if the quarantine lasts a year or two I still won't understand any of it. One professor at my uni said, if someone tells you that they understand quantum mechanics, they don't. Any good links to start things off? Here is a list of a couple hundred small homestead skills to build. Make a mallet with a branch and a hatchet. A bit of sewing. Make an adobe brick with mud from the backyard. Sharpen knives and tools. Dry some food. *=EDITED to fix typus. Good one. I'm going to go though that and see what I can do. This is so neat. Thanks. It'll be nice to have some skills for when society inevitably collapses. TV tropes. You'll suddenly start to refer scenes in movies as wow what a tearjerker and your whole family will hate you. But god is that website so fun to lurk with this. I will become a bed. The Rotten Library. Rotten.com/library has an archive of essentially a pre-Wikipedia with hand-written articles on weird stuff, cults, murders, etc. It's cross-linked so it's easy to get lost. It's a relic of when the web was just scattered information with no real way to find it. The Rotten Library was my teenage introduction to so many oddities that today get reposted on Reddit every few months. Edit. Found a mirror. Rotten Library mirror. Same. I spent so many hours on Rotten.com in my teens. My mum and I were obsessed with it. Opened my mind to a world of stuff. Does anyone remember a series of photos and backstory about a woman and her lover who murdered her BF who was a drug dealer and took heaps of Polaroids? A lot of corpse defilement, decapitation, genitals removed, may have even stuck them in his mouth, all the while they are posing naked with the corpse. It was one of the first things I saw on the internet, but I've noticed, no matter what I put into Google I get no results. It was from the 80s I believe. My 90s. This is a fun, novelty website where you can easily lose yourself for hours with nostalgia. Basically it uses YouTube videos to simulate watching TV in 90s and allows you to specify the year you want, along with what categories you want to see when you change channels. There is also a My 80s TV and a My 70s TV. I love the old HTML look. Absolutely brilliant and nostalgic at the same time. Remember when websites had music playing automatically when opened? You could always have a go at the internet's hardest puzzle, not prom. It's been online since 2004, but only 67 people ever made it through all 140 levels. I've been playing since 2007. I'm in the 70s now. Edit. Since many people are asking questions, feel free to check out the main site with rules, FAQ, and hints. Heads up for all the mobile losers like me, you absolutely need to do this on desktop. I started the first puzzle, and was confused if I was about to do some horror type thing. The music and atmosphere is scary. Is this a horror website? On YouTube, I have been viewing this channel named Horror Stories. It's a collection of short but brief real-life horror stories of people who died in the most horrible, unimaginable, and unsuspecting way. No clickbaits, on-point storytelling. Mr. Nightmare is also pretty good at real-life scary stories. He has a great voice for telling scary stories, and makes good use of stock images and stock video to create atmospheric visuals. Yes, horror stories and dark 5/dark docs. Maybe you could find out what's on the second page of Google. There's a second page. My saved posts on Reddit, take the time to go back through them and act in some way that reflects why you saved the post in the first place. I save way too many posts. I must have more than 1,000 saved. It's FAP time. Can Academy.org recommend this? Because it's become obvious that part of the problem right now is how many people didn't do well in school, me included. Big part of why I love this site, or did not have the opportunity, and thus tune out valuable information they don't understand. I wish more people took advantage of the fact that scholastic information is free, or close to it. Just gotta look for it online nowadays. Before the internet, you had to be lucky enough to afford education and live in a place where that kind of opportunity was available. Most people in the past didn't get to change their future as easily as we can. My father's hope as a kid in the 70s was to, one day, be rich enough to have other people go to the library and find out things for him. Google's a fair bit cheaper. This and Crash Course on YouTube is also a fun YouTube channel to binge. They have series on tons of topics and always adding new ones. They're pretty funny and easy to follow. Good for light watching. Chris Chan, a comprehensive history edit. Guys, this blew up, holy chiz. Shout out to Gino Samuel 2-1 for making a killer series. Another good one is Jason Genova and the Del Rey Misfits. Jason Genova is kinda like the bodybuilding Chris Chan. The Del Rey Misfits is more general, and Jason is a recurring character in a wide and vast array of people who are all a little off that work out at the same gym. I really liked the early parts, but later on you get 45-minute episodes, and like over a half of them is just uncut phone calls between Chris and trolls that I get bored to tears listening to. The Titanic didn't really sink. Instead, the Olympic did in an insurance scam eater. I don't actually believe this. It's just one hell of a theory to read. This is the best conspiracy theory I have ever heard. Proved wrong though, after they checked stamp details on a part of the sunken ship. So go to Wikipedia and pick a country and look at a history of their leaders. Can be interesting to see a list of them and the politics behind it, especially African countries cause their world, how often they switch and for why. You could always play the Hitler game. Hit a random page on Wikipedia. You have 5 pages to find Hitler. In English class I had a project on the War of the Roses, then we read A Man for All Seasons. So I've been frequently visiting the list of English monarchs Wikipedia page. Science channels. From entertaining to informative, science channels have been my favorite types of channels to binge. Source is one of the best at this. Backyard Scientist, Mark Rober, and Slow Mo Guys to name a few. And if you're up to a mental challenge, go for really heady, concept, theory-laden channels like PBS Space Time and Quantum Gravity Research. Kurzgesagt is also very good. Don't forget Veritasium. Try researching the DuPont family. Not the medical field, innovative part, but the ducked up evil incest haunted house parts. It's hard to find info because billionaires control everything, but it's there. Link. Channing Tatum did a movie about Mark and Dave Schultz, two Olympic gold medalist wrestlers. John DuPont had this wrestling team which was a crazy vanity project, and he ended up killing Dave Schultz. One of my favorite things to do is look around on Google Earth at an area you never plan on traveling to. Zoom way in and learn about the small villages / communities / cities that live on completely different continents or tiny islands in the middle of nowhere. It's seriously insane how humans are willing to live anywhere. Holy chiz, yes, I've spent countless hours just looking at hidden corners out of curiosity. Now I mainly do this just to look for photography locations to travel to Geography.com. Someone in another thread recommended the YouTube channel Geography Now. I have been binge watching it for the past week. Really entertaining way to learn about all the countries in the world. Geography Now is legit. If you're into music, there are a ton of great channels on YouTube. Rick Beato does a lot of music and song analyzes. Alex Ball has done some documentaries about Roland and the Prophets synthesizers. All really interesting history and information. True Cuckoo is a dude who has a ton of videos about synthesizers, drum machines and jams. Not to mention tutorials. There's so much that you can learn. I started with guitar and recently I got into synths and drum machines, and YouTube is a great place to get to learn from plenty of talented people. I missed a ton, but I guess you can do the exploring yourself. Take a look at Adam Nailey if you're into music theory stuff. That channel blew my mind when I discovered it. r/John Titor in early 2000s, someone began posting on several message boards claiming to be a military time traveler from the year 2036. He arrived in 2000 on a stopover for personal reasons. His primary mission was to return to 1975 to recover an IBM 5100 computer which was needed to debug huge computer issues that would arise in his original time. Some have disregarded this as an elaborate hoax. The rubbies. There is an anticipated Y2K style computer frying event. Look up Unix 2038 problem, and only like 5 people in the world knew the IBM 5100 debugging programming existed, which was later confirmed to be true by someone involved with the project. His stories contained predictions from his timeline, time travel theory, physics of his machine, and even schematics of the time travel device. All his posts are archived. Enjoy your trip down the rabbit hole. The Civil War in the United States will start in 2004. I would describe it as having a wacko type event every month that steadily gets worse. The conflict will consume everyone in the US by 2012 and end in 2015 with a very short WWII. Damn, he called it exactly. Oh, that's why Titor sounds so familiar. They use this story in the anime, Steins Gate. SCP and Warhammer 40k, Emperor text-to-speech. Greeting Custodes, how are you this day? I got introduced to the SCP Foundation almost a year ago, and I'm still stuck in that rabbit hole. Normally, I recommend the Wikipedia list of unusual deaths. I still do, but with the disclaimer that as we isolate ourselves to protect our physical health, the isolation may be damaging to our mental health. Reading about unusual deaths might not be for you right now. If you're good to go, here's the link. Wikipedia org. I'm aware of Stephen Winfrey, who died of asphyxiation after getting his head trapped down a rabbit hole in 2015. Beware. Another unusual on Wikipedia, eBay listings. The crap that people try to sell can be mind-boggling. edx.org for college level courses on almost any topic you can think of. Edit. Since a few people have asked, yes, the courses are free, but if you want it certified that you took the course, then you have to pay. Otherwise the material itself is free. Who remembers StumbleOpen.com? You create an account, choose your interests, then hit the stumble button and all of a sudden you will be shown a cool website that has to do with your interests. Thumbs up if you like that page, thumbs down if you don't. The more you like/dislike, the cooler your pages get. StumbleOpen is actually how I found Reddit. It has gotten a new name, Mixcom. Modern Russian history. Start reading about Rasputin, and then go from there. Good stuff. Rasputin, dancing queen. The SCP universe, that's not just a rabbit hole, it's a black hole. r/transcribers of Reddit is a pretty good way to kill some time by writing transcriptions for people who are vision impaired. Gels Marble Runs. Watch the Marble Olympics. I've followed this channel loyally since I found out about it, and it's quite interesting to me, cause I haven't had an interest in watching sports since I was a kid even. But I find these races and other events so fascinating, and I take sides and have favorite teams and athletes, etc. And RN3 is a marble, and everyone who said he isn't is wrong. But it is genuinely fascinating. and the caster makes the videos so much better. I'm not a huge fan of Marbula 1 compared to the Marble Olympics, but if Greg is casting it I'm watching it. How to grow mushrooms, not magic mushrooms. PLS don't ask, it gets annoying, and the different techniques people use for different species. Also, the rabbit hole of how many chemical products we harvest from fungi. It just sounds stupid to believe in the power of fungus, because there is a fine line between it and all the essential oil homeopathic bullshit and cure-all products being marketed by MLMs and Facebook and Tivax moms. Been looking at growing mushrooms. Instantly everyone asked me if I was growing magic ones, and it's definitely super annoying. Mushrooms look really interesting to grow. Oh man. Been waiting for this day for a long time. Here's my list in no particular order. Dyatlov Power Incident Voynich Manuscript Japan Airlines Flight 1628. Extremely compelling UFO sighting. MK Ultra Project Northwoods Tunguska event. One of my faves. Aleph formerly Aum Shinrikyo. Japanese death cult. Skinwalker Ranch The Philadelphia Experiment Japanese Unit 731. Ducking Nolly. Alleged Russian apartment bombings. False flag attacks in the late 90s. Saudi Arabian involvement in 9/11 Gulf of Tonkin incident. Project Azorian Bilderberg meeting. Maximum headroom TV station hijacking. Fast radio bursts. Aliens? Maybe, but probably not. Nazi Bell misplaced artifacts. Archaeological artifacts are showing up well out of their understood time range in geological areas they shouldn't be in. Awesome video. Pretty much anything to do with Monsanto, but their roundup is prolific. Blender org and YouTube tutorials. Definitely recommend Blender. There's so much to learn, and it's fun and free. It's not a rabbit hole since 280. Left clicking works now. I always love the opportunity to be able to talk about Archive.org because it is such a wonderful and free resource, especially at a time like now when you're looking for distractions. It has millions of free downloads for music, movies, books, software, etc. One very popular example is that it is home to a very large catalog of Grateful Dead recordings. There is also the Internet Arcade, where you can play a lot of classic games, along with the console living room, which is similar. They have access to tons of old PC games too, and you can even play the original Oregon Trail online. There's a lot more in their software section too. It also has the Wayback Machine, which has archived more than 396 billion web pages saved over time, so you can go back and see how websites were years ago. For example, here's Reddit on July 25th, 2005, a month after it was created. Give lucid dreaming a shot. Just hearing people talk about it like on r/lucid dreaming is an acid trip. Honestly though, lucid dreaming is worth the effort. It helped me conquer a chronic and reoccurring nightmare. True crime. Something about murderers and serial killers are terribly addictive to learn about. The ethics issues of persecuting a mentally ill person/minor, as well as the eventual rehabilitation, and whether they should ever be released. A truly fascinating field. Only downside is that I can't talk about these with people I know IRL. Can't imagine telling anyone, oh my hobby, I like murders. Say forensic science or approach and it sounds better. Not the same thing, but sounds better. LMAO, a few years ago I couldn't sleep and fell into an oyster shucking rabbit hole, and it was a live stream of this lady shucking for pearls with different colors, kinda like an unboxing video, but I needed to know what kind of pearls would emerge. OMG pearl parties, I've been there too. The Facebook live streams are too good, haha. Honestly, I just like looking up random chis and people I hear about from TV shows, Reddit etc on Wikipedia, and digging through connected articles. Like I looked up Kenny Rogers, and after a few links ended up on Shel Silverstein's page, where I learned he wrote Johnny Cash's A Boy Named Sue. Novels. Get off my lawn and go read a book. I've personally gained a big interest in sea shanties. Try learning some music. Sea Shanty 2 starts playing. Web serial novels. There's lots of good ones available for free. I haven't read too many, but I can personally recommend Worm and the Practical Guide to Evil. Worm gonna need a longer pandemic. I once saw someone on Reddit boast they read it in a week. I suspect they may have been fibbing. Did you know that we are actually a hybrid slave race forged by aliens to mine precious metals, to repair the atmosphere of their home planet, and the Great Flood was them trying to wash us off the planet because they starting falling in love with us? True story. Now you don't have to watch weeks of movies about the Anunnaki. My ex started going on about Anunnaki after a mental breakdown and became obsessed with conspiracy theories. If I have to hear the words Anunnaki or dimensions one more time, I fear my brain might literally melt out of my skull just to avoid the conversation. Cicada 3301. Scooby-Doo. I'm watching all of the seasons and different versions of it. The Torah is quite the rabbit hole. Inescapable porn addiction. Look up conspiracy theories, spooky stories, and mysteries on YouTube. Top 5's bedtime stories and lazy masquerade are all really good, and also paranoia inducing. Oh, and also cold case detective. Start with one of these and go to the next recommended video. In addition to the rabbit hole, you'll learn about YouTube's algorithm. Also Nexpo, some legitimately scary cheese. My girlfriend and I watched every single Eurovision music video from the last 5 years over the course of 3 days. Time well spent. I never knew how amazing the whole competition is. It's like Got Talent on steroids. The technical term is the Gay Olympics. Bon Appetit. I would die for Claire from Bon Appetit Test Kitchen. Bradley Ann is my favorite. Experimental hip hop, Japanese city pop, and other genres of music mostly confined to the internet. In the West at least, city pop is still a thing in Japan. Ask a Mortician on YouTube. Entertaining way to learn about the green funeral industry and confront mortality. If you love the darkness or gallows humor, or are really curious about what happens to your body when you die, check it out. Looking at what your symptoms are if you get sick is the worst rabbit hole. The entire saga of Frank Sinatra, Ava Gardner, John Farrow, Maya Farrow, Woody Allen, Roman Polanski, Andre Previn, Dory Previn, Tony Della Penta, Nancy Barbato, Jack Nicholson, Angelica Huston, Salvador Dali, Liza Minnelli, Hugh Hefner, Red Skelton, Dean Martin, Marilyn Monroe, Robert Kennedy, the Beatles, etc. We all know about Woody Allen marrying his stepdaughter, but there's so much more intrigue in this history. John Farrow was sleeping with Ava Gardner, Frank Sinatra's ex-wife. A Chicago reporter once asked Ava Gardner what she saw in Sinatra, calling him a 119-pound has-been. She told him, "Well, I'll tell you, 19 pounds is cock." Frank Sinatra then married Maya Farrow, John Farrow's daughter. Jesus Christ, Frank Dean Martin exclaimed. "I got scotch older than this kid." Red Skelton, the famous comedian, was one of the few witnesses at the marriage. "That guy over there, Red? He just shot his wife," Frank confided to Maya right before the ceremony. Maya Farrow broke up the marriage of Dory and Andre Previn. In 1969, Dory Previn discovered that Farrow had become pregnant by her husband, which led to their separation. Andrea Previn then divorced Dory Langan during her hospitalization for a mental breakdown, where she was being treated with electroconvulsive therapy. Dory and Andre made music for both Frank Sinatra and Valley of the Dolls. Valley of the Dolls starred Sharon Tate, who was later murdered by Charles Manson. Sharon Tate married Roman Polanski, who raped a 13-year-old at Jack Nicholson's Bel Air house. Roman Polanski directed Rosemary's Baby, which starred Maya Farrow. Rosemary's Baby is what broke up Maya Farrow and Frank Sinatra's marriage, and shot Maya to stardom after Sharon Tate had previously outshined her. There's so much more. To get started, look up how Frank Sinatra got his scars. Then look up the rustic cabin incident. North American dashcam videos. I'm no expert, but I thought Russian dashcams were the pinnacle, no? Reading court opinions from, insert your state here, Court of Appeals. I've learned so much about the legal system, precedents and proceedings, police interrogation, search, and seizures, and lots of other things. I've also learned there are some seriously messed up people. More than I could have imagined. Sounds like law school. I'm out. YouTube channels. History channels like Historia Civilis, Voices of the Past, Invicta, Salmonella Academy, History Time, House of History, Kings and Generals, Crash Course, Dan Carlin, eStory Epic History TV, Extra Credits, Forgotten Weapons, Limino, Linda Beach, Military History Visualized, Peter David Documentaries, The Great War, The Cold War, Time Ghost Historian / Space, Curious Droid PBS Space Time. PBSians, smarter every day, Source Spirituality / Conspiracies, Decoding Spirituality, Pursuit of Wonder, Sadhguru, True Meaning, Truststream Media, What Do You Desire, DIY, How to Make Everything channels about film, Now You See It, Every Frame a Painting, Beyond the Frame, Red Letter Media, Reviews, Cinematography Database, Jenny Nicholson, Reviews, Lessons from the Screenplay, Captain Christian, Placid Cup, Ralph the Movie Maker Comedy, Auntie Donna, Bridge Stewart, Joel Haver Shorts, Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, Gus Johnson, Jaden Animations Video Essays, CGP Grey, Kurz Jusagged, Nerdwriter 1, What I've Learned, Zefrank, Zefran Conference Fitness, Picture Fit, Athlean X, Nutrition Farts Ogmisk, Knowing Better, History, Government, Psychology, Adverb China, very informative channel about two foreigners riding motorcycles, and talking about China, Primitive Technology, Rambleac, just a guy filming his walks through Tokyo and other places in Japan. Boy, I've been reading so much Harry Potter fanfic. This writer named Northumbrian created a whole in-canon expanded universe for decades after Deathly Hallows, and it's been a blast reading his stuff. Edit, a word. Pedagogue. Do some digging, and you'll see that all the crazy conspiracy theorists who have been calling the elites satanic pedophiles have been right all along. Satanic Thea, not Satanic Jude. They're billionaires and politicians who duck kids, because they're a bunch of out of control, overstimulated hedonists who have built their wealth on the exploitation and outright slavery and murder of hundreds of millions of people. They have no limits. Morally or legally, if rape is about power, then it's clear that they are just addicted to power. Their place in society warps them into absolute monsters. This isn't new information, this is as old as Clan War. Just reading the Podesta MLs from WikiLeaks convince me. All the connections between anthropology, history, archaeology, conspiracy theories, medicine, psychology, and astronomy. Historical reports of sightings such as solar solstices or comets can be dated with high confidence by making astronomical calculations. Some medical norms and standards are being adjusted to give the impression of racial equality. For instance, dark-skinned people need a lot less sun lotion than many recommendations. There were multiple archaeological forgeries documented. There are probably more that haven't been found out, which means that human history may be completely different than we think. This especially applies to prehistorical and ancient migrations, where there are more colliding theories than scientists. Average penis size surveys have different results when done on volunteers than as a part of compulsory tests. Same for average height. Genetic researchers suggest that Icelanders have a bit different origins than documented on paper. To calculate BMI, you square your height instead of cubing. As a result, very tall people would need to be extremely skinny in order to have normal BMI. Watching historical documentaries is pretty good. Some of them are on YouTube and are 8+ hours long, so you can spend days watching them. You should try gaming walkthroughs with commentary once. I got really into watching dogs fail splendidly at national agility training competitions. It was great fun. Look up Mario Kart music over police chase on YouTube. Time Cube, it's time, Cube, for a comeback. Not really a rabbit hole, but I'm pretty sure Amazon's Audible has an event going on for students that are out of school, so they can read. YouTube Knudsen makes videos about certain rabbit holes in a documentary style. I enjoy his videos. His videos are called Down the Rabbit Hole. My favorite one is Nazi Germany's War Machine. There are things about their organization during war, as regards the army, not the ideology, how everything worked, what vehicles they used, generals, battles, or strategies that I find very interesting, and could end up reading about for hours. StarKid, a theater group that produces amazing musicals and put them on YouTube to watch for free. I pop into the comment history of you/poem_for_your_sprog every once in a while. The sheer amount of good quality poems being pumped out is pretty damn impressive. Lot are wikis. Search one character and then just click on the links. You'll start with someone well known like Gandalf and end with something like a list of people who carried the Ring of Berahir. Great to build knowledge of the universe and then enjoy the films when you marathon them later this week. YouTube. Screen Rant's pitch meeting 10/10ths would recommend. It's the only Screen Rant content I watch. The entirety of Bionicle lore, found here and here. For God's sake, we all know it's r/unresolved mysteries. Erratas. Summoning Salt. A YouTuber who covers the history of speedrunning games in concrete detail. Even if you don't like speedrunning, you should still take a look at his channel. Here's his video on Choco Mountain to get you started. Fanfiction. You like a certain show/movie/book, go read about other people's interpretations. Oh my, you watched until the end? That's fucking awesome, dude. Thanks for watching.